to God.
Aye.
There's the boy. Hello.
Oh, hello, hello. How are you? I'm just closing things and opening things and saving videos. Hang on 2 seconds. Live from the quiz cave. We're back.
I know. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly. Yes.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. So as I'll just repeat at the start of this tonight, we might have 2 people watching, we might have 20 people watching. In the end, we might have 200, 2,000 people watching, because it's not so much the live interview part. It's the fact that the interview's recorded and it'll be put on YouTube after this. And I don't know if you know, but last week I was sent a really, really nice picture of some drama classes in secondary schools using the videos and exploring different careers and things, because obviously the circumstances at the moment, they're maybe not getting out and about when they would normally be shadowing somebody in a real live working theatre, or talking to careers advisors about visits and things. So hopefully for some people this will be informative or entertaining, or maybe even inspirational.
Who knows?
Who knows? And whenever it's you, my dear, I always know that you're inspirational for me anyway.
Oh, that a boy.
So it's lovely, lovely, lovely to speak to you. And I'll also need to keep an eye on the clock, or you and I will still be here at 1 a.m.
I may do. Some folks have work, you know.
We would be chatting away forever. So I'm not going to dwell on COVID and the whole big C word about this year. But in terms of being an actor and a singer as you are, and people that you know in the business as well, what has it done this year for performers and things? What are you seeing and hearing, my dear?
Well, it's absolutely devastating, isn't it? It's just been absolutely awful for the people in the business. That all the theatres closing, their income left, you know, they've got nothing even coming in. I know lots of folk that have gone off and found other jobs, just something, you know, delivery or maybe doing Avon. God, I don't know, just anything to make some money. It's just been dreadful for everyone.
And I know when you were in Chicago, for example, I can't remember if it was first time or second time, you worked with Anna Jane Casey. And
yeah.
She's actually been featured quite heavily in the stage and things, because her partner's an actor as well. She's obviously a very, very famous singer and dancer and lead actor in the West End, but she's been driving for Amazon or somewhere.
I know. I mean, how crazy is that? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, they're basically just trying to find anything at all that will make some money for them, just some sort of an income. So, I mean, I'm glad she's got something, because there's loads of people out there that haven't managed to get anything. There's just no jobs, is there?
And people still have families and they've got responsibilities and mortgages and things like that as well. So anyway, let's start talking about happier times. This time of year, obviously, normally a lot of people would be involved in pantos and Christmas shows. And I know that you have done, as I have done, a fair share of pantomimes in the past. So what was the last panto you were involved in? Tell us about that.
So my last pantomime was actually at the Bio Theatre. Believe it or not, it's 2015. Oh my God.
Oh, wow. Gosh.
I know. 2015 going into 2016, and we did Cinderella. And for me, it was just, that was like the ultimate. I had always wanted to do a pantomime at the Bio Theatre, because the Bio Theatre is really special to me, and it holds a wee place in my heart. And I've always wanted to perform in the panto, and I finally got the opportunity, and I had the bestest time. It was amazing.
Oh, wow. And what is it like? I spoke to Kim Shepherd a couple of weeks ago as well, and we were reminiscing about what panto is like behind the scenes when you're doing, you know, hundreds of shows or whatever every day. What is it like to get through a panto season? Like, talk us through that.
Oh, my God. Well, well, you have to take really good care of yourself. You have to be aware that this voice of yours is a muscle, and it has to be warmed up, and it has to be looked after. Of course, it's cold season, isn't it? It's the time when everybody gets the colds. And myself, I can't tell you how many times I have been struck down with a sore throat and no voice, and had to still go on and get through it. It's very hard. It's really hard. But that's where Dr. Nelson comes in handy.
Who's this then?
So Oh, Dr. Nelson's amazing. So he's I would call him a vocal inhalator.
Okay.
So you've got like a bowl with what you put steaming hot water in, and then it's a glass tube that you suck the what do you call it, the steam. There's the word. So you take the steam in, but because of the glass suction part, it goes directly to your vocal cords.
Oh,
so it's basically,
they're like little mini kettle things with these glass pipes.
Yes,
that's
right. Exactly right. They're amazing.
Okay, so that's you're kind of steaming your way through panto.
Absolutely. You're steaming your way through panto. You're taking care of your body. You're trying to get as much rest as possible because, my God, it's so hard doing a 10 o'clock show in the morning, especially if you've got a big belty number to do.
Yeah, if you have to switch it on to hundreds and hundreds of kids at 10 o'clock and then again at 2:30 or 7 o'clock at night. And the thing I always find crazy about if I was performing in a panto would be the shows. There's no one day the same, because you could be 10 o'clock one day, 2 o'clock and not on at night, and then the next day it's 10 o'clock and 7, the next day it's 10 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 4 in the morning. You know, it's just different times all the time.
Well, that's true, but I'll tell you, my first ever pantomime that I did was down in Oxford, and I was, I can't remember, Dick Whittington it was, and we did 3 shows a day, and that runs from the beginning of, the end of November to the end of January, and it was 3 shows a day, and it nearly killed me. Oh,
I'd be eating poison apple myself by the end of that. I wouldn't be able to take it.
Oh my God, it was hard. It really was hard.
But fun times as well.
Oh, brilliant times. You make friendships that are there for life. You know, you share so much. People are at their best and they're at their worst. So it's the friendships that you start, and they're there forever.
During a long run like that. Okay, so I'm going to jump all the way back, and there's things that I can't presume to know about you here in this interview, things I'm going to pretend I don't know for people that are maybe just going to come upon this interview and see the title. It says Donna Hazelton, actor and singer. Okay, but I want to go all the way back, and I'm going to ask you a question like, were you always one of these kids maybe that liked performing or singing, or how did things start for you?
Well, how it happened in my generation, because I am quite a bit older than some of the people that you've spoken with, our grandparents and aunts and uncles, it's true, Raymond, don't be laughing. My grandparents, my aunts and uncles, they all sang, and they used to have these family gatherings where everybody had their song, and we the children, the cousins, we were all encouraged to get up and sing. And my cousins were, you know, they're little, I'm not going up and singing, that's not for me. But I never hesitated. I would always get up and do a wee song. Regardless of how rubbish it was, I would get up and sing because I loved it. And I guess it all started because of my grandparents and watching my parents and aunts and uncles doing that. I was in awe of it. And my granddad, actually, he believe it or not, he cut a record. He cut a 78 vinyl record in the 30s.
Oh, wow.
One of my aunts, well, I've only got one auntie left, what am I saying? She must have it, someone has it. And an auntie of mine, another aunt of mine, was a gold medalist at the Mud. So they were good. They were pretty good.
So singing was in your family, but also that cultural thing of people getting up and doing their wee piece and things like that was very much of your growing up then, would you say? That's
right. It was all part of it. Okay. And it's just been something that I guess it's been in my blood. It's in my DNA, and I've had to just I've had to.
You know, going into schooling and things like that as well. Was it something where you went to school? Was it something that was encouraged? Was it something you actually consciously thought of? There's a difference now between enjoying it and I would really, really like to do this.
I guess I've always wanted to do it, and I'm sure that's really what everybody says. I think it's innately inside you that you want to do it. But there weren't a lot of opportunities. I mean, I grew up in Lochgelly, which is kind of the middle of Fife.
Okay.
And there weren't the opportunities. My mum and dad, they didn't have a lot of money. My dad was a truck driver. My mum worked in a bookies, and it just made it difficult for me to follow that dream at that point. If you know what I mean.
You weren't going to expensive theatre schools or anything like that, or had the chance of that.
No, I mean the only place that we had at that time in Scotland was RSMD, which is now the Conservatoire. That was the only one. There was no other. If you wanted to pursue a career like that, it meant you would have to go to London, and you're talking big money, and that just wasn't available. So I never truly believed that would be something that I could do, but I found other outlets, other ways of, singing at these family gatherings, joining my local company when I was 16, because it was the local adult company, because we didn't have a youth theatre at that time either.
Right. Okay.
What's happened? What is that? Oh God, wait a minute. Why's that there?
I can see.
Someone's went in front of me. Hold on. Oh God. All right. No, can you see me all right?
Yeah, I can see you.
There's a thing right in front of my face.
Oh,
right, okay.
No, we can still see you.
Good. That's fine.
You said you joined the adult company. There wasn't a youth company.
No, there were no youth companies when I was young. That came along quite soon, maybe about, I think the first youth theatre started when I was about 20. And by that time, I'd been in the adult company for 4 years. I was married. So, I couldn't, so the youth company was not an option for me. But when I went into the adult, the first adult company that I joined, I went in with a few of my mates, because it was just kind of like, let's just join the local amateur company. It was fun for them. Inside me, I was like, oh yes, please, I'm desperate. Yeah. But we joined as dancers. Can you believe that? Oh,
I can see that right now. What you be now?
No chance. Oh my God, that was honestly. I mean, I loved it, and I still got to sing in the ensemble, but I got to be this. Oh, it was silly. But
what show was it? What show was it you were a dancer in then?
So, well, I was a dancer in my first 2 shows. The first show that I joined was what did we do now? Finian's Rainbow.
Oh yes. How are things in what's the thing?
Guacamora.
Yes,
Guacamora.
With glaucoma. That's the thing with your eyes.
How are things in glaucoma? Oh my God. Yeah, that was, and the funniest part about that show was there's this number in it called "When the Idle Poor Become the Idle Rich."
Okay.
And it's black people.
Right.
And we all had to black up.
In those days, my gosh.
Yeah. And I had the blackest, I had like the shoe polish on. I had in my pores for weeks.
Gosh, that was, oh goodness. There you go. Finian's Rainbow, all colours.
You wouldn't get away with it now.
No, not at all. So you're in adult companies and things like that, and you're dancing and you're performing, but does that fulfill that kind of inherent, I want to do more thing?
No. And it was pretty soon after that I started doing, there was show talent competitions. It was a time in the early 80s when there was talent contests everywhere. Edinburgh, Glasgow, down in the borders, up in Dundee. There was like absolutely almost every club had a talent contest running most weekends.
Okay.
And my brilliant dad, who I don't have any longer, but my dad was my roadie and my sidekick, and he drove me all over Scotland so that I could take part in these.
Okay.
And I hope this doesn't come over the wrong way, like I'm blowing my own trumpet here, but I won most of them.
That's brilliant.
And I'm really the thing about it as well, though, was I don't know whether it was because people were just shy and didn't apply to do it, or if it just was a thing in those days that there weren't as many singers or that wanted to do that sort of thing back then. I don't know, but I really was pretty successful in those days. And on the back of that, I got an agent, a club agent, who managed to get me bookings so that I could go into the clubs and do the club circuit.
So was that kind of the first time you thought, gosh, this is more than just somebody said to you, oh, you're quite good at this. Now people are actually saying you could get paid for this.
Yeah. And that was quite something, because you've just not hit the nail right on the head. Because when you're doing this sort of thing, you don't actually know how good you are. Mm-hmm. You know, you think what you're hearing in your head is different to what people are hearing when you're singing. So you think, well, I'm reasonable, they're clapping, they seem to like it. But it's not until that sort of thing where people are booking you and they're catching you as you're making your way to your dressing room and saying how fantastic that was. It absolutely does everything for your, you know, to help with your, what's the word? I can't find the word.
Confidence. And
that's it. That's right. It was building my confidence every time. It was a brilliant vehicle to do that.
When you were with this agent and you were then being paid to sing, what was that? Was that with a band, or was it just yourself, or how did that work?
Yeah, no, it was all the clubs had bands in those days, so you had to take your dots, your music.
Right, okay.
So you had to make up what your program was going to be.
Sorry, I thought you said you had to take your dogs because nobody'd look after that. Imagine that, turning up, putting your best frock on. Now, could somebody go and feed that lab while I do a couple of numbers? So you had to and you out giving it our things in glaucoma. So you turn up with your dots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And then this is like your Saturday night. You're not getting home until whatever.
Yeah, middle of the night. Aye, sometimes. You know, you're home back at midnight, 1 o'clock sometimes, because you're maybe not going on until after the bingo. You know, you maybe didn't go until 10 o'clock.
But that's the reality of it. And can I ask, Donna, at that point, were you in other jobs? Were you married? Did you have other commitments that you're out singing at that time of night? And how did that work in real life?
Yeah, so that's the thing. I mean, I took the route of getting married really young. I got married at 20. I had my first child at 23. It was just a bairn, really. But that's the road that I decided to take. So I had my kids. So my mum quite often would babysit, because the husband I was married to at that time, he worked shifts. So my mum would often watch the children to let me do this, and my dad was always with me. And yeah, I did have a job, not at the weekend. Oh no, actually, ignore that. I did not have a job. I was a stay-at-home mum, actually. So this was my one and only time to go out and actually get to do something for me. Yeah. So
I suppose you were being paid for it. You're lucky. Your dad was your roadie, taking you to all these gigs as well. But I assume now that I know what I know about you as well, this is still very much a commercial singing job, isn't it? Really, I mean, a great thing. You're being paid at this point now as a professional vocalist. But at what point do we go back to theatre, and where's that jump then?
Well, so I still do my musicals, I still do my rehearsals, and I still do my shows. That still carries on, because those, you know, rehearsals are through the week generally. And if I'm doing a show and maybe I have a gig on a Saturday night, I would not do that gig, or I wouldn't take that date, because you know, we've got this show coming up. So I was able to do that in conjunction. You know, I was able to continue doing both. So it fulfilled both parts. Johnny!
There's Johnny in the background.
He's getting his teeth plate through.
Quite right too. So they've been paid for the singing gigs, paid, now you're a professional vocalist, you know, at that point as well. But magical things do happen, because you obviously said earlier on, you know, people maybe some folk have the funds to go to these big schools and these things, and maybe that didn't happen with you. And then the only place in Scotland at that time was maybe RSAMD, and it was harder to get into because there's only one place, and they weren't really specifically musical theatre in those days. It was very pure, either a vocalist, very specialist singer, or an actor. But there's something that happens along the way that your theatre bit gets stronger and stronger, doesn't it?
Yeah. Are you jumping?
I'm kind of jumping a bit here, but yeah, you go on to play more roles in theatre, is that right?
Yeah. I mean, what really became exciting for me was that I sort of moved from, you know, in the day when I first started, you joined a company and you stayed with that company. That was it. But then things started to change where you could go from company to company. And so I moved from Lochgelly and I went to Glenrothes, and I went for a part. I went there specifically to try for a role, and I got it. And so I joined Glenrothes as well. So, well, when I say as well, I didn't then do Lochgelly. I kind of had left them and gone to Glenrothes to play leading roles there. And then then some really brilliant things started to happen. People were asking for me then. You know, folk were coming and saying, we wondered if we could ask Donna into audition for this. You know, rather than me just turning up. People, I'd get a phone call.
And you worked with Ken and people, Ken Alexander, and people in some
I did. Oh,
brilliant.
My God. I mean, he was just, in fact, I'm looking at David here. Were you in the first show that I did at Kirkcaldy, David? Just nod or shake your head.
What was it?
Oh.
No, I think we did. Because we did Glenrothes, and then we went over to Kirkcaldy.
That's what it was. So there you are. So it was Glenrothes first and then to Kirkcaldy. Yep. And it was just working with a professional director was something really special. Because up to that,
Meme. I think I saw you in Meme.
Did you come to Lochgelly?
I did. What do you mean? There's not a fence. I was able to come through.
But I mean, it's like in the middle of nowhere.
I think I went with Ewan because I think Ewan was picking up costumes or something. So I went with him. So I saw a Meme and you were in that. And I remember thinking, wow, who's that? I mean, I was only 3, but no wonder I couldn't even see costume crates. But I saw you in that, yeah. So you were playing theatre roles now by this point.
Yeah. I was enjoying. I mean, my life was just fabulous because I was getting to do all these brilliant parts and great, you know, being part of these great companies. And I have to say, I will not hear a bad word said about amateur companies, because that's where most people start. That's the first step. It's the first step for people moving on to doing professional work. That's where you build confidence, you learn the art of, you know, how to perform. So I annoys the hell out of me if I hear somebody going about, you know, it's just that they're just amateurs. And I think everybody should start in an amateur company. That's just my personal opinion.
The real true pros would never say that, do they? Because they have actually come up that way a lot of the time.
That's right. They would.
However, we do make a jump with you. At this point now, you must be enjoying playing these roles. You're you know, being paid as a vocalist as well at the weekends. Somebody's looking after the labs, but you're getting on with this kind of work by this point. But this amazing opportunity comes out from nowhere.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting, because just quickly going back a couple of steps, there over the years there was loads and loads of stuff that I tried out for. I mean, I tried out for Opportunity Knocks. I tried out for Jane McDonald and Friends. I tried out for what was the name of that guy who the boy drowned in his Michael Barrymore. I tried out for him. I tried it for. Well, mine, somebody drowned in his swimming pool. That's terrible. So I tried it for loads of stuff over the years, unsuccessfully, obviously. But it kind of, I kind of got to a point where I just thought, oh, maybe I can't do this. I've still got my musical theatre. I wasn't doing so much of the clubs at that point. I'd kind of stopped doing as much because things changed there as well.
Okay.
You know, you had to go self-contained, and I really wasn't. That was kind of after me. So I wasn't really.
It wasn't the same sort of clubs. It wasn't the bands. It was turn up with a track sort of thing.
Aye.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, I just kind of felt, oh, I don't know if I want that, because then you become background music. So people are chatting away, and you're not really the act. So I kind of decided, no, this isn't for me anymore. So I just continued doing my shows. And then
after the tryouts for these, you're talking about sort of TV talent shows now as well, but you're saying after you tried, and so had you kind of started to get pretty put off by that or deflated by that?
Yeah.
That was enough.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I kind of went, I can't be doing this. It's hard to take. It's like any failure's the wrong thing. That's the wrong word. But when things don't go your way, it starts to chip away. So I kind of thought, nah, I'm not fussy for this. However, it was the tail end of 2003, actually, around about Christmas time, I got a message sent to me from my cousin, who's actually like my sister. She messaged me and said, do you get the Radio Times? And I went, the Radio Times? Does folks still buy the Radio Times? But anyway, she said, there's an advert in it, Donna, and I think it would just suit you to the ground. And I went, what are you talking about? So anyway, to cut a long story short, the advert in the Radio Times was that they were looking for, they were going to be doing a new talent show, a new search, if you like, for a musical theatre star in the West End. And they were looking for people to apply. Now, there were certain rules on it. You know, you can't be professional. You can't have worked in the professional theatre, which I kind of, although I was being, or had in the past been paid for doing club work, I saw that as semi-professional. It wasn't really, and I'd never done a professional stage show.
So did the advert say, like you would think about signing up or auditioning for anything, did it say what show it was, or like ages or anything like that? Oh, right, okay.
Nothing. There was no age limit on it. So I think that was the other reason, because by this time I was 40.
Okay.
And had it said anything about ages, I probably wouldn't have even bothered, because I was 40 at that point.
Or if it said a certain show, if it had said Starlight Express, or it said Miss Saigon, or it said, you know what I mean, Oklahoma, then I suppose that kind of either excite you or put you off as well.
Exactly. But instead, of course, they didn't say at all what the show was going to be. They didn't even say there was going to be a show. They basically said they were looking for a brand new West End star. So that could mean anything, couldn't it? It could mean that maybe, you know, going into starting another show or writing another show. Nobody knew.
Okay. So
my wonderful husband here, he got the advert and he actually looked at it and thought, this is definitely a thing for Donna. And you had to like put a cover letter in, you know, you had to put a reason why you were applying. And you also had to put some footage in of you doing the three, you know, the acting, the singing and the dance.
Okay. All right, okay. Out came the clogs from Finian's Rainbow.
No, Kenny, this will make you laugh, because what he used for my dancing was from Little Me.
Well, what was it, your dimples dance?
Yes! So he sort of edited a little video of me singing, the dimples dance, me doing some acting, and posted it off. And then we didn't hear anything for a while, so we kind of forgot about
what
it.
You sang for the what songs you put forward?
Well, they would have came off some show videos, so I can't actually.
Okay, yeah.
It would have been
lucky songs for you, I'm thinking.
Absolutely. Oh, without a doubt. Because he's kind of cut and edited some songs from different shows and whatever. So as I say, it went away. We didn't hear anything for a while, and then blow me in about the February, I think it was. We got a letter, because they still sent letters, inviting me to go for an audition in Glasgow.
Wow.
And I know, and the audition just so happened to fall on the Sunday morning after the last night of a show that I did at Leaving. I did Sweet Charity at Leaving, and Saturday night's the party night. I said, no way, I couldn't go.
You didn't go to the party?
I wasn't allowed. No, couldn't go. Because I had to be in bloody Glasgow for 9 o'clock in the morning. So,
but that was, I'm just thinking for people watching, that was obviously the right choice, but it was a wee bit of self-denial towards a bigger goal.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I had to do the right thing, and the right thing was go home and rest and be fresh in the morning. And of course, I knew when I got there, this can go either one or two ways. I'm going to either smash it because my vocals are warmed up, I've just done a show for a week and la la la, or it's going to be hell because I've just done a show for a week and I'm knackered.
Yeah.
So I was quite worried about it, I'll no lie.
Okay.
But anyway, I went to the audition.
How many people were at that audition then? What had they streamed this down to? Was this the sort of Scottish round then?
Yeah. Because obviously it was all over the UK. And by the time they'd got to us, I think there was 40 or 50 of us.
Okay.
In that day, and it was a full day. It was a full day thing. Basically, they workshopped us. We took our music. We were allowed to decide what song we were taking. Mm-hmm. So we took our music, and the MD or the musical director at the time, he had a look at it and he edited the song. So we didn't sing the whole song. You sing a part of it. Then you were given some movement.
Yeah.
You were given and the acting was more through song at this point.
Okay.
So.
But there's still no mention of any specific show or anything at this point. Right, okay.
Nothing. And there was quite a fair age range as well. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't the oldest. There was people older than me there, and people much younger as well. But it was a morning and an afternoon thing. And in the morning, after that session had finished, it was whittled down. So those in the morning that didn't make it were told to thanks, but no thanks. And then there were only, maybe 10 of us, maybe 10 of us left for the afternoon. And then we were given more specific things to do in the afternoon. And at the end of the afternoon, there was only 2 of us were asked to go through to the next round.
Okay. Oh, wow, how exciting. So where does the next round take you then?
So that took us down to London for a weekend. We went down to, I can't remember the name of that theatre. It was past Blackheath, somewhere in Blackheath. Okay. And that's when we met all the other sort of people that had been put through from all the other auditionees. So again, there must have been about 30 of us, 25, 30 of us at the weekend. And that was much more intense because then they told you what you were singing. They gave you an acting piece to do. And there was movement given, a dance, 2 dances given when we were there. And the acting piece that I was given, you spoke about Ken Alexander earlier. Yeah. Well, I phoned him and asked him to help me with this because it was a solo piece,
monologue.
Thank you, Ken. I'm awfully glad you're here tonight. It was a monologue, and I wanted to get it right, so he helped me hugely with that. That was very tough. There was a lot of tears, a lot of people. What can I say?
Sorry, I'm just laughing. You said, Ken, pull yourself together. It's not that bad. Sorry, but yeah, a lot of tears from your end, hopefully, but you got through that.
Not necessarily from me, but a lot of tears from people round about me, where I was a bit like, "Oh, come on, pull yourself together, Hen, for Christ's sake." But it was probably because people really wanted it. You know, when it's something like that, you're desperate to get through. So I understood
now
it.
You're in a UK-wide competition, you know what I mean, to be in this musical. And at this point, do you know that this is a televised thing now and it's a lot bigger?
Oh yeah, I mean the cameras were with us the whole time.
Oh gosh, right, okay.
So they were with us in Glasgow, and they were with us in this weekend workshop thing that we did. They were with us the whole time, and then obviously at the end of that was when it was whittled down to 10 people. So it had gone from, what did that reckon, 25 or 30 of us, and then they whittled it down to 10 of us that went through to what they called, there was a summer workshop that they did, and that was for 2 whole weeks that we had to come down to London during the summer, and that was much more intense. I reckon that's the closest I got to going to some sort of theatre school and working with the best in the business. You know, I just soaked the whole lot of it up. I thought it was, I think at that point I was like, well, I'd be upset if I didn't get through, but it doesn't matter because I've had this experience.
Yeah, so actually by that point, you're just lapping it up and enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge,
absolutely,
all of that as well. Okay.
Loved it.
Again,
Loved it.
Do you know where this is heading, or at this point, do you know what the prize is?
Still nothing until probably the second weekend. Rumours started, and you have to kind of to let you understand there were 10 of us, but there was like 2 that could play certain roles and 2 that could play that. 2 that, you know what I mean? There was 2 that could play.
So they were kind of out of the 10. Yeah, I see what you mean. There were sort of 5 pairings of it's going to be you or them.
Yes.
So then you start picking
exactly.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so the rumors started at this point, and so somebody somewhere had said, I think they're doing this or they're casting it for Chicago, and I went, oh, Chicago.
As you're sitting there in a red curly wig. Oh God.
I'm going, I think that's a dance show, is it? No. Oh God, and I was thinking, oh well, that's it. There's nothing in it for me, so I'm just going to enjoy myself.
Yeah.
But I didn't know the show as well. I didn't know it that well until probably a wee bit later on. But the more discussion came out, and then I realised there was obviously Mama. So. Yeah.
And so, how does it eventually go from 10 to 5?
Well, that was on the final day. On the very final day, all of us had to perform, and our families were invited down.
Oh, wow. Gosh.
Mm-hmm. And that was the weirdest thing, though, because the house lights were kept up and the lights on stage were darkened. So so they could film us.
Oh, right.
But it was weird because you could see everybody's faces.
Yeah.
And it's slightly difficult, but very nerve-wracking. And that's actually where a lot of people fell at the last hurdle because they couldn't control their nerves.
Wow, and pressure. So they were what? And
totally.
Do you think that they were? I suppose that they were always judging you on your performance bits as well. But were they watching how you dealt with the process, kind of how you reacted to the training, how your stamina, or for want of a better word? And
yeah, absolutely were. And actually, we didn't realise this until the programme was aired, and then you could see them all talking. You know, when they were all discussing us and what they were saying, and the lovely thing for me personally was that they had no problems with me. They felt like they felt safe with me. That was mentioned, that they felt safe with me, and so for me, looking back at that, I thought that's amazing. I didn't do this journey thing. You know, I just went in as me. I soaked up everything they could give me and hope for the best and perform the best I could, and it worked. So
thinking back to it, I think were 2 of the girls, I think I'm going to get this right, was it Caroline and Rebecca? Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
But some people had professional training, I suppose. So when they're talking about you feeling safe with you, that must be really reassuring for them, because they're obviously thinking, we're about to cast somebody in a big West End show here. Can they cope, I suppose?
Yeah, well, exactly. And of course, I hadn't gone anywhere. I hadn't been to drama school or university or anything. I hadn't done any of those. It was only just life experience for me.
So the amazing prize ultimately was that you got to perform as Mama in the West End. And I think was the prize kind of to do one show or one performance. And that was, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hopefully this will be good for you in your future career. Now off you go.
Well, that was the main prize, but we also recorded an album at Air Studios in London. That was part of the prize, which was incredible. That was amazing. But yeah, the big thing was performing. The winners got to perform one night, but then after the show, the program producers and director and whatever, they actually had a big meeting with us, and they asked us, each one of us, they asked what we hoped would happen from now on. It's funny thinking back, because it is on one of the programs. They filmed us answering the question, and what I said was that I wanted to do more recording and touring and singing. Which actually, to me, didn't feel like something out of reach. I didn't feel like it was something that's ridiculous. But some of the others did say that they wanted to just step right in to play a leading role in a musical in the West End, and and they had to be brought right back down to earth.
Yeah.
So
but going from to do one night, which is amazing, and a recording thing to then stepping into a career 8 shows a week and a year-long run and whatever, and that was still would need a bit more work.
Yeah, well, basically, exactly. And we were all of us offered some training. They didn't say which schools it were, but we were all offered training. Only one took up the training, and that was Warren. He went to Lane.
Okay.
I couldn't possibly, because I had like a teenager, two teenagers at home, and a life up here, and I said, I thank you. If it had only been 20 years earlier, it would have been amazing, but I can't. There's no way I can take training.
And some of these programs that you hear of, there can be sort of not horror stories, but it's very much like, oh, well, that's you, thank you very much. They don't support your end. It sounds like Musicality was very supportive on the way, the other end of it as well, like as you're saying, offering you support and things. If you did, was it one of these shows that really you felt looked after you throughout? Yeah,
absolutely. I think they were really good at that. Anything you needed, you always had somebody there that you could contact. Okay. But yeah, they made it that you understood. It's not just been handed to you on a plate here. It's not just going to all happen for you. Yeah. You have been given an opportunity, but you have to work. If you want to take this further, you have to work for it or train for it. Or, the one good thing that I got out of this, I got an agent. I got a London agent, wow, which was fabulous. And that started the ball rolling with doing the auditions and so forth. So,
but unlike the other contestants, so they all played different roles and things as well and went on to different things. Your pathway after Chicago, after your debut as Mama, was slightly different because you went back.
Yeah.
So what happened there then?
So well, they asked if I would like to go back and do a short run for them, and that was at the beginning of the following year. So that was in the January. I went in for 4 weeks or 6 weeks. I can't remember how long it was.
This is also going from what was only meant to ever be a one-nighter to now being invited to play the role for a period of time. That's incredible.
It was amazing, I swear, because it was like they put me up in a flat up at Russell Square. And when I actually arrived to start rehearsals, I was ill. I had bronchitis when I arrived. So I didn't have to go to rehearsals to begin with. They put me in touch with their company doctor. So I got put straight onto antibiotics, blah, blah. Anyway, so I missed the first few days due to having this infection. And they were always making sure that I was all right. You never ever felt alone, like they've just left you to get on with it. Okay. But they really did. They took took great care of me, and getting the chance to go back in and work with Anna Jane that you mentioned earlier, she's absolutely incredible. Jill Halfpenny, who was just such a sweetheart and so talented, as was the rest of the cast. They were just, I mean, I actually cannot believe, even to this day, that they could sing and dance those numbers and no beauty breasts.
What was I going to say? So, did you feel, and this is an honest question, did you feel more apprehensive going back the next time, thinking, right, I won that competition, everybody knew where it came from, that was my background, that was it, and I won the prize, but now I'm actually in there with not the real guys, you know what I mean? You were on stage with the real guys when you won it, but now I'm here, kind of, I've really got to deliver now. And did you feel conscious of that or worried about that? Or
all of that, Kenny, totally. Very conscious, really nervous, really worried. But the majority, bar someone, and I'm not going to mention.
I know you've told me who it is before. We can guess, viewers. She's named quite a few of the principals that she was in the show with.
Aye.
And it wasn't the Hoff. It wasn't the Hoff.
No, this is the Hoff. The majority of the people in the cast were absolutely fantastic. They took really good care of me, and they didn't make me feel as though I hadn't, you know, that I was the person coming in with no training, no background, no nothing. They were all brilliant, apart from one person who made me feel like she's not had any training. She's, you know.
But the others were good.
There's always one.
Always one. And listen, going back to when we're speaking about, you know, being Sweet Charity in Glenrothes or something as well, how different was it then doing 8 shows a week and think, what is it like performing in the West End? We'll tell you later, Raymond. Raymond's asking the question. I'll tell him after who it is. What is
I know, I can see that. I'm smiling.
What is it actually like doing it as a job? You know, 8 shows a week, 5-6 days a week and things. What does that look like on a day-to-day basis? Well,
it's very difficult, because there are days where you'll not be bothered. You'll just be like, oh, I can't be bothered with this. I'm tired, or I'm ill, or I'm whatever it happens to be. There will be days like that, even though it's your dream job. It's like any job. You're going to have days where you think, oh God, but you have to find it in you. You have to pull it right out the bag. And funnily enough, Dr. Theatre always manages to make that work. You always find that, but it's not glamorous and fun all the time.
I think that's what we've heard from other people that have been interviewed, that they're, and not to put anybody off their dreams or anything like that, and you'd be one of the first people to say, don't you dare, you know what I mean, get on with your dreams, go out there, anybody can do something. But there's a reality to it, isn't it? There becomes a stage where it is a job and you have to switch it on. People have bad days, people have good days, but you have to turn up and show up and get on with it.
That's right. You do. But like, I suppose the good thing about this, you know that once you've done your rehearsals and your show's up and running, your work is literally 4 hours, 3 hours, you know, and you can get out, you go out there and you kill it, and you've got your supporting cast members there helping you along. You'll do it. Everybody actually does it, and after a show, you always come out off thinking, "Oh, that was amazing. I just loved that. That was just fantastic." So if you felt crap in the morning, you know, you feel amazing after it, always.
So what happens next? So we've now gone from, you know, somebody who enjoyed what they did, then was paid for what they did as a vocalist, now suddenly wins like a countrywide, nationwide competition, but then moves on from there, records an album as part of that prize, now actually established West End performer in her own right, for a run in a show. What happens after that then? Like, again, I know some of the things you've done, but step by step, your last night in Chicago, was it all a dream? Thank you so much. That's me way back up the road. What happened?
Well, kind of, actually. But for the time that I was down there, I think I had maybe 2-3 castings that I'd went for, because I'd obviously got myself this agent,
Mhm.
and they put me up because I was down in London anyway. I was seen in 2 or 3 meetings. I think looking back,
Yeah.
there was people still who saw me as someone that had won this television competition, and I didn't go in with I've been at a stage school or any other kind of experience. So regardless if they wanted to give it to me,
Mhm.
because I might have been the right person for the role, they've not done it because of that. They've been slightly anxious or scared, or we're not sure because she's got no forum. You know, we've nothing to compare it with.
Okay.
So there was a lot of that happened, I think, for a while.
And do you mean
and that
people
could be
that
hard.
you were still almost, was it because untested in other roles, like how would you deal with another long run of something, or actually it's because of some of the parts probably that you were being considered for, she's just not a big enough name actually in that part at the moment, or
Aye, it could be that. It could well be that. You know, the hardest part, the agent that I had in London was brilliant at giving you feedback.
Okay.
From every casting, I got feedback, which was amazing because it helped me then to move on and think about what to do for the next one. But the amount of times that I got told, oh, it was between you and so-and-so.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That is so hard for somebody.
And was so-and-so a big name sometimes, or who was so?
Yeah, or sometimes, or maybe the fact that they'd been on the circuit longer. Right. You know, like, for instance, I can say Diane Pilkington was one.
Yeah.
It was between me and Diane Pilkington, so Diane Pilkington got it. But then she's well known.
Yeah.
I've just arrived, and as I say already, I've got no background. That happened a few times actually. And in some ways, I don't know whether they're telling me this to make me feel better, because you know you were good enough.
Worse sometimes, probably.
It is actually.
You're thinking, how can I get a hold of that Diane Pilkington?
I love her, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't we? But you obviously do get some things, because the next thing I hear about you're way off in the Far East. That's
right. I mean, that was incredible. I mean, I did 3 UK tours before that.
Okay.
With that, not the big shows, but that was written by a person. She was kind of she used to write for Emmerdale and things like that. But anyway, she wrote a few musicals, and I toured with those. But the one that was in the Far East came because I played a part in The Kings in Glasgow, and the MD on that show was the MD on this new show. So I turned up at the auditions, he saw me, and he was like, oh God, Donna. So that's how I ended up getting that job. And that was immense. I mean, that was immense. I got to play the Mother Superior. Come on.
I mean, wow. Okay.
Loved it.
So, and that was Dubai, was it? Were you out there?
Yeah, I was in Dubai 3 times. So I went out twice for The Sound of Music, and I went out once for Oliver.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, it was incredible, honestly. Great. Loved it.
And what's touring life like?
Oh, touring is hard. Mm-hmm. It's exciting from the point of view that you're seeing lots of the country that you wouldn't normally see, mm-hmm. And you're being able to perform in some fabulous theatres that you would never be in. So that's an exciting part of it. You really have to get on with your castmates when you're touring, because you live at a suitcase, and they're your family for the amount of time you're touring. So I did enjoy it. I really did enjoy it. I think I just got to a point where I got tired, and I thought I just want to be at home now. I'm needing to be at home.
It's a different thing touring like that. It must be. And then again, there's another honest question. I think you said, you know, you were doing these auditions when you were 40. You had your own teenage kids and everything by then as well. Now we're talking about somebody breaking in the West End, periods of time down there, touring internationally as well. That must come with its own challenges, though. Just the time that you were at with family.
Absolutely. Oh my God. I'm going to have to give you an example. I was waiting. I'd had my 5-minute call for Chicago. 5-minute call, Miss Hazelton, and I'm sat in the dressing room just about to leave. My phone goes, and I answer the phone. It's Rachel, my daughter, Rachel, in floods of tears. She can't find her straighteners.
And this in the West End of London, about to perform at the Adelphi Theatre, but being on mum duty because your daughter can't find her straighteners.
That's the one. That's it. It was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. I just thought that is what keeps your feet firmly planted on the ground. There's no way you can have a big head when you have that sort of thing going on.
Oh gosh, thank God you found them and she wasn't reversing the charges out to Dubai. Imagine that, going to get your curler looked out before I got on that plane. Not going back and forth on the phone for that. I tell you. So but after that, and you did more, you did tours and things like that. And a lot of people will know you from like the Girls' Night Out tours and things, because you still tour with that. How did all that come about then? Because I know you really enjoy that show.
I love it. I love it. It came on the back of another wee show that we did called I Will Survive.
Yeah.
So this was written by my agent, who, well, he's no longer my agent because I've stepped back from that. That was Yeah. And Paul is also a producer, and he'd written this wee show and asked if I would be involved in it, and I was, yeah, absolutely. And we've been touring all over Scotland for, well, I Will Survive run from 2013 to 2016.
Oh wow!
And then we started on Girls' Night. And 2016, we helped to write this other wee show called Girls' Night Out. And it's been touring since 2016. And we keep finding new venues to go to. It's amazing.
And those tours, is that you still tour, but you're kind of away one night or something, or a couple of nights max, so you can still get home and that still works?
Yeah, well, it's mainly weekends, to be honest, because there's two of us in the cast who have other jobs.
Right.
So we do the weekends if there are dates that come in and are through the week. If I can't get time off, or Natalie can't get time off, he's got swings that he puts in, understudies. They go on and they go out. So it's this show, I adore it, and it keeps me going. It allows me to keep using this, and I just love using this.
Just to get a good sing now and again.
Yeah, it's great fun. It's great fun. I love it. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That kind of what I think is so lovely to think about in your story is to go back to the wee girl that would entertain the aunties and everything as well. There was no way, had somebody leant over and whispered in her ear and said, one day you're going to be performing out in the Middle East playing, the Mother Superior, or one day you're going to win this nationwide competition and you're going to, record an album and play a part in the West End in London. It would be literally unbelievable, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. We're talking about, as I said, we're talking about a wee mining town in Loch Gelly where nobody had very much. Absolutely. There's nobody on this earth would I ever have imagined that my life would take. And also because I chose to get married young, have my family young, and I thought it passed me by. Okay. All the chances, I thought you needed to be young to do this. You don't. I came late to it, and I've had an amazing time. You don't have to be that young person just at a school that has to do this if you don't want to.
And if there was any doubt in you as well, even going for that advert, you know what I mean? Johnny putting all your bits together and thing. I bet he was driving it at the background saying, come on, you've got to push yourself here as well, because none of that would have ever happened had you not, got that advert out of the Radio Times or somebody gave you a phone call. No. Oh gosh. So
I know.
what would you say to to anyone thinking about, you know, a career and you've had a very honest experience of everything. The way I know the way that you talk with me about it, like what were high points, what were challenges and things. What would you say to a young person starting out now that thinks, oh, that's beyond, you know, I stay in a wee town, I'll never manage that, I'll never do. What would you say to them?
Well, it's like I've just said, it doesn't matter what age you are, whether you're a young person or a bit older, it can still happen. You just have to be, if you've got the passion and the drive and you want it enough, you just have to be aware that you have to do your homework and your research and make sure that you get the right place for you. You know, I think if I could go back to being that young person again and we're given the chances that people have now,
yeah.
You know, all the drama schools that are going now, I would love somebody to say to me, you know, do your research, look into it. Don't go into this business blind. Just be aware that there's a lot of work in front of you. There's a lot of tough times, a lot of challenges, but it is the best feeling in the world when you get up on a stage and you perform for an audience. There's nothing in the world like it. And
that doesn't matter if it's in Dubai or if it's in London's West End stage or, you know, the place down the road.
Logelli Centre.
Just the same buzz and feeling that you get now, yeah?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you'll know that just recently I got to play one of my all-time favourite roles, and oh my God, it was just like a dream come true for me. So
Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, I could die happy now. Oh, darling.
No, unless, no, you can't yet, because we're still working on Sunset Boulevard 2, Norma's The Monkey's Revenge.
The monkey comes back for the dead.
After all. It can come back.
Oh, God.
Come back. Listen, darling, we've gone well over as usual, as we would normally do. But it was just to say thank you. So, no, not at all. I think it's just the honesty of that story as well. So lovely. I still need to ask you another question though. You've played Norma and things. What would be the other one that would still lure you back? There's definitely more in you yet, I'm sure, that you would like to play in musicals and things as well. So just for everybody watching and listening, what have you still got ambitions to play certain parts? And
oh, absolutely. God, oh yeah. I mean, there's loads of roles that I never actually got the chance to play when I was in the amateur scene. I've never played Dolly Levi. I'd love to do that.
Oh, you'd be great.
I would love to play her. I have played Maine, but I'd love to do her again, or maybe her sidekick.
Vera.
Yeah. Quite like Vera. But I think the one for me, I want to play Mama Rose.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Is that's the kind of rite of passage for women, isn't it? They have to,
yeah.
That's the one, that's like the King Lear for women of musical theatre sort of thing.
I would think so. And anybody who watched Celia Imrie play that role, oh my God, it was a masterclass.
Do you mean Celia Imrie or do you mean Imelda Staunton?
Imelda.
I mean Imelda Staunton. I didn't mean Celia Imrie. I mean Imelda Staunton. Thank you, darling.
Wow. Celia, you kept that under your hat. Good for...
No, it was a total masterclass. It was amazing.
Yeah. So we might still see you as Mama Rose or Dolly then. Something to look forward to.
You never know.
Never know.
Fingers crossed.
What was that? Fingers crossed.
I mean, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Well, darling, as usual, it has been an absolute delight. And I'm going to package up this video and I'll let you know when it's going to be up. But I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy listening to your story as well. Okay.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you so much. Nice to see you. Thank you.
Yay!